We are all significantly more unstable than we would like to admit. The only reason why we don't recognize how unstable we are is because of our low standards for what we consider to be stability. It has been normalized. The toxicity, the ugliness, the meanness, the passive aggressiveness, rudeness, inconsideration. These things have been normalized because, when everybody sort of fails, it's kind of like, in class, like if half the people in the class got an A on the test and half the people failed, and then the teacher decided to, let's say, curve it or what have you to where it benefits the people who failed as well. Half the people who got an A would be like, what the fuck, right? And be like, come on, man, we worked hard for this. And now, you're helping these people who failed up, but we worked so hard. But if everybody failed and only one person got an A and then she mixed it up, it'd be much less voices of protest. Everybody be like, yeah, please fix it for our sake. And that one person who got an A is kind of the odd woman out. And so, equality. And so, what I'm saying is that everybody is failing. Everyone is failing at being sort of a genuine, kind person on a consistent basis, a considerate person, a mindful, thoughtful person on a consistent basis. Most people are failing, so therefore we have all tacitly agreed that it's acceptable for this kind of negative behavior, destructive behavior, to be our daily norms. And a lot of us, because I find it within myself, when at my weakest, when I'm failing as well, I do just want to join them. I do just want to take part, participate in what everybody else is doing, which is basically whatever you fucking want, as long as it doesn't trespass upon a certain red zone. It's like kind of in our political climate. There is 100% racist declarations and remarks that are being made by groups of people. But because it doesn't cross a line of just like 100% on the nose, then it's passable. But the goalposts keep being moved. It wasn't like that. But then somebody comes along and normalizes a certain behavior or champions a particular way of being, and everybody else signs up for it, the cosign, and so the goalposts are moved. They move. And so for us, in this fucking busy world we live in, where you barely have time to think because everything is grabbing at your attention, everything is vying for your attention, we have all agreed, fuck it. As long as you don't outright say, hey, fuck you, then you're not being rude. As long as you don't outright slap me in the face, then you are not being hostile. And so that's what's agreed upon, however subtly, however under the radar. And if you are my breed, I find myself now just probably speaking to my breed of people. If you're my breed, you see and you feel that simply won't do. Because intrinsic in kindness and warmth and consideration and being better and transcending, intrinsic in that is a kind of peace. It's a goal acquisition. It's a reward. It's just rewarding to be a considerate person. It's just rewarding to be somebody who attempts to be harmonious. It just feels so right. It just feels like that's how it should be in the first place. Whether it's because of our chemistry or whether it's because we were presented with this idea and it sat really well with us at a very young age or at some point in our life. But there are those of us who believe that the right way to be, the healthiest way, the most compatible thing is to be a harmonious creature. Now here's the thing about this. Human beings, to me, what a human is a walking aspiration. You're a walking force of aspiration. At your default, you're whatever the fuck. You're this mold. You're this piece of clay. And depending upon your circumstances, you can go either way. And I think that we forget that, and we're so arrogant as humans that we presume that because we were born at this day and time, that our ethics and our morals, these things are would be a part of us no matter what. Like I've always said this. I just saw Bill Maher do a segment on this too. But I've always said this. If I grew up as a little white kid in the early 1900s, and my family, my father was a KKK grandmaster, I'd probably be sympathetic towards the KKK. I'd probably, not certainly, but I would probably end up thinking to myself, yeah, like, I love my father, I love my grandfather, I love my family. And their racism would therefore, I'd find a way to justify it. I'd find a way, however subconsciously, to make sense of it, so that I would not be at odds with their perceptions, because they mean something to me, because they are my family and I love them and they haven't mistreated me. There must be some sense they're making. And so I'd probably end up adopting their racist beliefs. And if I grew up, I know that with my damn mentality, were I to have the misfortune of growing up in, let's say, the most impoverished community with the most prevalent of gangs, I would have certainly have been a participant of that. I would have joined in with the group, with the brotherhood, just to be a part of something even remotely similar to a family. Let's say if I didn't have any family and whatnot, I would be gang banging, or I would try to, had I grown up in that kind of circumstance. What I'm saying is that we really, I think we really underestimate how powerful a specific societal scenario is, and how much that colors us and makes us who we are. But also, to me, what you should grasp from that is how, like, a lot of your thoughts, a lot of your perceptions, a lot of your ways of thinking are not 100% your own. You are not fully the author of your way of thinking as much as you would like to believe you are. Like, you have to ask yourself, cool, like, what I say about this is that it's cool that we were taught that, let's say, killing and stealing is wrong, right? But it still would behoove you, and it doesn't hurt to ask, why is it bad to kill? Is it bad to kill all the time? Why is it bad to steal? Is it bad? The classic example, to steal a loaf of bread to feed your family. Is that quote unquote bad? What is bad? Like, why? We have to talk about these things. It's not reserved solely for the philosophy class. You know what I'm saying? People think these kinds of discussions and subjects are, they only belong to the world of academia or to intellectual minds that care only about that which is quote unquote commercially intellectual. Fuck that, man. We are here for a limited amount of time. We have finite time, finite energy. We need to be trying to make sense if we can, if it's going to help our behavior. And I really think that what we're missing in our life is a harmony with authenticity, and that affects us way more than we would like to believe, because then we're left, man, listen, that quote always, every now and then, every so often, it pops in my head that that line, that first line to that quote by, it's either Goethe or however you pronounce his name, Goethe, the German fellow, or it's also a credit to this other guy. Whoever said this, I've come to the frightening conclusion that I am the decisive element. It's the first line to this long quote. I have come to the frightening conclusion that I am the decisive element. And it's so true. We are the decisive element, and we get sucked into this bullshit that people are engaged in because it's a can't beat 'em, join 'em mentality kind of thing. It's a bit of you lose the will to fight. Everybody's so inauthentic. Everyone's so insincere. Everyone's so full of shit. You're just like, fuck it. Fuck it then. I'll be full of shit. We have to me, well, where my inspiration comes from. By the way, I thought of two words. I'm all over the place. I love it. I thought of two words that best describe the music that I hear on the radio, by the way. I live in Houston, and Houston radio the two words that best describe what the fuck I hear is lazy and uninspired. And I feel like a lot of us, everybody, by the way, because that word lazy, automatically it's a word association thing. Let the political sphere tell it, it's minorities that are lazy. No, I mean white people, I mean everybody. We're fucking lazy on so many levels. And I'm talking about all the levels that really truly matter. People think they're not lazy simply because they get up moving and just fucking make their words come out their fucking mouth and vomit out words, vomit out action. A lot of what they do is mindless. It's zombified. I would say the fucking zombies in Walking Dead are not lazy at all. They get their ass moving, don't they? But what they're doing and their behavior is not benefiting people. But anyway, lazy and uninspired is where we're at. And one of the ways that, one of the things that inspires me is the pursuit of becoming better, of trying to grow. Like, I'm not trying to be a fucking bodybuilder. I don't care about being bodybuilder, but there's something so dope. I just watch these random guys on YouTube and doing their workouts and just pumping each other up. There's one gentleman, and a lot of them, by the way, yeah, they're using performance enhancing drugs and stuff, but that's what I make it clear. I don't want their bodies. I don't want to be them. I don't even want to like be friends with them necessarily. Why not? But my point is that what's so motivational about these videos, like was one guy, Larry Wheels, who I was watching recently, but I watch a lot of people. It's just like, get it, man. Like they're all, to me, it's such a noble and admirable pursuit to just want to grow and become better in some way. Yeah, often people are doing it for superficial reasons, but I can't knock being partially or even 75%, as long as you're not fully superficially motivated, as long as there's something else there. But I can't knock having that superficial motivation, because a big part of why I ever wanted to become healthy to begin with was superficial reasons. I have always, like from the moment I fucking hit puberty, I had some weird, erratic, volatile skin. And I had acne, and I had energy issues, and I wanted to eat healthy to look better. I wanted to eat healthy for the longest time, merely for the sake of vanity. Eventually, after a while, I could give two shits about the looks part, because I saw and felt how much better I felt. Not saw how much better I felt. I felt so much better, so much better. My energy levels and everything, the way I could think, it was all dramatically different. And so I was like, oh wow, eating better has a lot to do with more than just appearance. And so now the emphasis went from looks to feeling to functionality. But to me, it's because what is humanity if not this? It's not just civilization and democracy and whatnot. To me, it's not merely this just experiment. Like, that's one way to look at it. It is this experiment. But what are we trying to do? What's implicit in our efforts to become better? It has always been to become better. And it's always been for our benefit. The evolving standards of decency that mark the progress of a maturing society. Chief Justice Earl Warren. But it's not only this evolving standards of decency. It's just it's evolving standards. Apply them to every part of our life. We are trying to reach a kind of utopia, right? But listen, don't fret, don't fear, don't be paranoid about the notion of utopia, because I know it's kind of like then Demolition Man pops in your head, or like just us all being lobotomized, like, oh, hello, my children. Listen, man, I think that we can redefine what the utopia is, what a heaven on earth can be. Like, I think there's still a place for organized violence. There's still a place for sex and porn and whatnot. If it's done correctly, if people are not being mistreated, if proper rewards are being given, if people are truly passionate behind the objective, if they're not merely doing it in terms of porn, if they're not doing it because there's no other choice, and like, now they're just these poor women, like, as long as there's no trafficking involved, as long as it's pure will, interest, and enthusiasm towards it. Dudes who are fighting, like, let's try to minimize the brain damage, and let's try to do our best to make sure that they are getting correctly and properly, appropriately compensated for their efforts. Because UFC is amazing right now. Like, I have so much fucking respect for UFC fighters. It's the amount of work and the technique and skill involved in that is just it's extraordinary. And these dudes are really truly like real life ninjas in a way. Like they're real life commando people. They really are killers, and they are not going around killing people. They are applying what they've learned to just to fucking entertain us. Anyway, moving on. I think I care about harmony and being better because I think that's one of the remedies to that feeling of restlessness, that feeling of meaninglessness that we all tend to come in contact with at some point. At some point, many of us, just especially if you sit and you have the silence and there's nothing going on and you have a moment to yourself and you are just reflecting, you ask yourself, what's the point, right? And what's the point? And a lot of cartoons and different movies that are heralded and considered to really hit the nail on the head, they pose that question, or they declare it's all pointless. There's nothing matters. My small beef with Rick and Morty is that it makes it seem as though nothing matters all the time. But obviously right now matters. Even if nothing ultimately matters, in the sense that no matter what you do, we'll all just be dust. Eventually the sun is going to fucking explode. The earth will die. And there's nothing afterwards, right? Let's just say that that's the case. Like, let's say like if that is the case, that doesn't change the fact that you're alive right now. You're breathing right now. You feel right now. In the now, pain still matters. Joy still matters. Reward still matters. Lack of reward still matters. Being appreciated still matters. Feeling energy still matters to you right now. I don't give a fuck what happens 1,000,000 years from now, 100 years from now, 1 week from now, 1 day from now. Right now, you can't help but exist in this moment, and then this moment, and then this moment. And then so the question is, what do I do for this existence to not be insufferable, torturous, painful? What can I do to feel good? And one of the things we can do to feel good is to do those wholesome things. Is to try to pursue as much as possible, aspire as much as possible, continue to aspire to try to be better. And we have to define better. So my shit fucked up. I don't know if it's still recording or not, but let me just say, that's all I have to say. I just wanted to stream of consciousness on you right quick, and love you all. Thank you for listening. What was the point of this? I guess, hey, being better is definitely a fight. Being better is definitely a struggle. But I think that the moments of victory are so worth it, and the potential we have to affect each other is so great that I think in the long run, it makes all the sense in the world. All right, y'all.